That day I found out the person I thought for I think I was 25 years in my career that I thought I was, found out I wasn't. I mean, I guess people don't understand. Once you do or have a shooting, and a lot of officers complain about this, but it's the reality of the situation. You become a suspect. You committed a crime. So you get interviewed, you go through this process, and you have the possibility of going to jail. So that hangs over your head. Shooting somebody, hurting somebody, it had a grand impact on me overall anyway. I probably would have been a wreck if I killed her.
She tried to kill you. She was trying to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, she was having a bad day. Yeah, I mean, she was intentionally trying to kill me. It really took a toll on me to where I didn't feel like I was the same person. Like I couldn't, like I broke my shoulder before, I tore my ACL. Physical injuries I recovered from. When it was my brain, it hit me hard.
This was a day that really just changed your life.
It has had a grand impact on my life the last, almost 6 years now. That day I found out the person I thought for I think I was 25 years in my career that I thought I was, found out I wasn't.
And just to can you give us a preview of what as we go into what you discovered?
One of the questions you always wrestle in your mind, if it comes down to it, if my life or somebody else's life's in danger, can I pull the trigger? And I was always, yeah, I could do it. Can I reveal it now? Or still watch the video? On this day, I had to. And what I found out, as you can see, it had a grand impact on me. It made my life different. And people go through this, and I didn't think it would, and it did. It had a really big impact on my life, and we'll go through it, I guess.
Yeah, we'll talk about
after.
Yeah. All right, we're going to watch the first part of the video.
Warning. The following video includes the use of adult language and violence. Because of YouTube's terms of service, we are required to censor parts of this video with a blur. On the morning of Thursday, April 12th, 2019, a man parked his white Kia minivan outside of dry cleaners in Los Angeles, California. His vehicle was parked outside, still running, as he was only going in for a few minutes. At the same time, a woman, later identified as Keisha Henderson, walked by the dry cleaners and saw the vehicle running and unattended. She jumped in the vehicle and took off. The first reported accident came from a dash cam from a civilian's vehicle on Vermont Avenue and Rosewood Avenue. As the driver enters the intersection, they witness Henderson fail to use her brakes in time, causing an impact with the vehicle in front of them. The vehicle that was hit stops in the middle of the street. Henderson hits that vehicle multiple times in addition to at least one other vehicle as she tries to escape the scene of an accident. Henderson continues driving down the street, hitting multiple vehicles within a school zone before turning off Vermont Avenue.
911 emergency operator. So there's a total of at least 4 cars that were struck and that were involved. Oh, there's 5.
Oh, 5 cars?
5 cars, yes.
So it is a hit and run?
Yeah.
She hit mine. Mine wasn't as bad, but it was nonetheless a hit and run. And I got her license plate number.
Okay.
If I didn't catch her, I would have beat her down to a pulp.
Okay, well, sir, you don't want to hurt nobody. I understand that you're angry.
Oh,
because you hit
sorry,
my car. But let's start by asking you where you're at.
Henderson drove away from Vermont and First Street before parking the Kia minivan and walking up to another individual, a man sitting in his car. After he opens the door to talk to Henderson, she attempts to steal his car. He fought her off, but was stabbed by a screwdriver she had in her possession. She got back in the Kia and drove away. At around 2:30 p.m., while traveling south on South Bonnie Brae Street, Henderson moves into the northbound lanes before hitting multiple cars. The key is totaled. She attempts to steal another vehicle, but is unsuccessful. She runs away on foot. A block or two away, at a local grocery store, Henderson sees a man talking to a friend outside his Chevrolet Avalanche. She jumps into the truck and takes off. At 2:48 p.m., the stolen Chevy Avalanche is recorded by a pawn shop security system driving north towards South Alvarado and Valley. At the same time, London H., a pedestrian, opens her rear driver door to get something from her parked vehicle on South Alvarado Street. The Avalanche approaches the intersection of South Alvarado and Valley. The driver decides to make a U-turn. London H. was thrown to the ground by the impact. She was able to make her way to the sidewalk where multiple concerned citizens checked on her. Local school police officer Joseph Ivan K. was driving past the area and noticed something happened. He approaches the vehicle to assess the situation. Around the same time, Henderson makes an illegal U-turn at South Alvarado and West 3rd Street, hitting another pedestrian who is walking in the crosswalk, breaking his leg. She then hits another vehicle. Henderson speeds back towards South Alvarado and Valley.
Hey, so you just happened to show up here, right?
Yeah, I was just driving down the street. I had some uniforms to pick up at the shops. I was just running an errand to go pick up uniforms. Just driving down the street, had no idea any of this happened. No clue. And I just saw what appeared to be an accident on the side of the road. Didn't even know the young lady was hit. Just saw her car smashed. So I stopped to get out of the car, and I saw her. She was standing on the curb, looked fine. And she said, "Hey, that car just hit and ran me." And prior to me getting there, as I was approaching, I saw some people running across the street, and it didn't look like normal running across the street. It looked different. So I thought people ran up a street. So I thought, oh, the car that hit her took off and went up that street. So I started to walk in the street to try to figure out the name of the street. I thought the car went out down. And I was just going to put out the traffic. Hey, we have a hit and run. Vehicle fled, down Valley, I believe the street was.
And it was more than a hit. I mean, the driver tried to kill the woman in her car. I mean, she wasn't just trying to take the door off.
And like you heard in the video, she was crashing into multiple cars. She stabbed a guy. The car that she tried to attempt before she fled away, she attempted to stab that woman and barely missed her head, scratched her head, put an abrasion on her head. She was aiming gun.
Aiming to, and although you didn't, can we watch the rest of the video? So now this is where she comes back.
After Keisha Henderson hits London H with the stolen Avalanche, Henderson drives a block away before making another U-turn to head back. Officer Ivan K. is currently standing in the street near London H's car. He's using his radio to call in the hit and run. He is unaware that the truck is on the way back until it's too late. Henderson turns the Avalanche towards Officer Ivan K., purposefully turning the truck on a crash course with the officer. At the last second, Officer Ivan K. hears the truck with enough time to brace for impact. The truck hits Officer Ivan K. in the leg.
Oh, shit. That's a cop. That's a
cop! Henderson tries to run over Officer Ivan K. over again, purposely putting the truck in reverse before stepping on the gas, attempting to pin Officer Ivan K. between the truck's grill and the wall. Officer Ivan K. was barely able to miss the impact with the truck. He pulls out his police-issued firearm as she has attempted to hit him twice in under a minute. He is talking to her about turning off the truck and asking her to sit and wait a minute, to take a deep breath.
Shoot that bitch. Oh my God. What the fuck is fucking God? Oh, shit.
Henderson continues to yell at Officer Ivan K., saying that he won't shoot her. She opens the driver door with the screwdriver visible. Officer Ivan K. repositions himself to block her from escaping, as well as to de-escalate the situation. It is now that the pawn shop security guard joins with his taser to try to assist Officer Ivan K. However, Officer Ivan K. has no idea that the security guard is there at all. Henderson was hit by the taser from the security guard. As Henderson is hit with the taser, she moves slightly, still with the screwdriver in her hand. At the same time, Officer Ivan K. fires a shot, hitting her forearm and thumb, causing her to drop the screwdriver and to fall onto the ground. Keisha Henderson was taken to the local hospital immediately, where the gunshot wound to her arm was treated, and she made a recovery.
So earlier you said that's the day that changed your life. What happened?
A lot. So first, like, that was probably the saddest moment in my career. Like I said, nobody gets in this job, or I didn't get in this job to hurt somebody. And I pride myself on being able to talk people out of situations. And it got to the point where I knew I wasn't. And, you know, even when I was going through, because, I mean, I guess people don't understand. Once you do or have a shooting, and a lot of officers complain about this, but it's the reality of the situation. You become a suspect. You committed a crime. So you get interviewed, you go through this process, and you have the possibility of going to jail. So that hangs over your head. And so when I was getting interviewed, everybody wanted me to say that I was in fear for my safety. I was in fear of getting great bodily harm or death. I knew that could happen. I knew that she could kill me or cause me great bodily harm. But I didn't feel fear. I felt sadness. And as you can see, I didn't know the security guard was there. And I think we both formulated in our mind to pull our triggers at the same time. I mean, I guess being in Penn State, it gets cold here. You know, your hands are so cold and it's hard to bend them sometimes. That's what my fingers felt like. I couldn't pull the trigger. And I was just like, and boom, I pulled the trigger. And I didn't hear my gun go off. I heard the bzzz from the taser. So I was like, what? What was that?
But you said earlier that every day of your life you're thankful for that security guard.
Shooting somebody, hurting somebody, it had a grand impact on me overall anyway. I probably would have been a wreck if I killed her.
But she tried to kill you. She was trying to kill you.
Yeah, I mean, she was having a bad day. Yeah, I mean, she was intentionally trying to kill me. And like, it's funny because if you look at, it's the weirdness of police work. So last second I hear, I look and I'm like, oh, here it comes. Boom, she hits me. I start to run, and this is not the way it worked out in my brain. There's a total different scenario that I thought happened until I saw the video. You see me try to get my gun. I'm like, I don't have a chance for this. I keep running. I barely get out of the way of the car, and then I get my gun. And like I said, you hear all the people, shoot her, shoot her. It sounded like almost a chant to me, like, shoot her, shoot her. And I'm thinking, what? What are people, like, why would people want me to shoot her? Because right now, she's in the car, sitting there calm, and the threat's over again. Threat's gone. So now I'm like, hey, can we just take a breath? Can you turn off the car for me? And she's complying. And then she's like, you want me to turn off the car? I'm like, yes, please. Like literally, I'm like, yes, please. And she like turns off the car and she sits there and then she looks at me. All of a sudden she drops her hands real quick. And I'm thinking, yeah, she doesn't have a gun. You know, she would have been shooting people, not driving people over, so I wouldn't thought process. She comes back up and that's when she has a screwdriver in her hand. I'm like, all right, whatever. She's in a car, I'm here, I'm safe. No need to do anything now. Let's just take a breath and wait for the cavalry to come. Like, we have time. And then that's when she looks at me. I thought she was pinned in the car. I thought the other cars were blocking the door from my perspective, so I thought, she can't get out. And then she just looks at me square in the eye and says, yeah, you ain't gonna shoot me, and starts to open the door. And I'm barely standing, like, I'm like, my legs are shaking, I'm doing everything in my power just to stay on my feet. So I'm like, ah. So now I gotta walk around, and I put myself, like, there's the V of the car, I'm trying to keep her there, because you know, she's already determined that she's going to hurt somebody by hurting me. I had no clue she hurt other people. So I'm like, let me put myself in between her so she can't go hurt anybody else, and let me keep her there. And then, you know, like one of the questions they asked, why didn't you fight her? I had nothing in me. Like, I was barely standing. So, like, and that's what I think people don't understand. Every situation, everything's different. Every situation is different for every police officer. Everything depends on the moment. Everything depends on how you feel. Everything is different. So even if I see a shooting, and because I'm a police officer, I might be able to piece more parts of the puzzle in my brain and sort of go, okay, I can think how that happened. You know, the way, you know, the Supreme Court defines it is like how the person felt with that many years of experience and that, you know, what's going on in that moment. So everything's different for everybody.
You tried to go back to work. You took time off and then you tried to go back.
I was off for injuries for, see, this happened in April.
Wait, can you go to the next slide, by the way? So that's you in the hospital afterwards.
I smile at everything, by the way. I was off because of injuries until October. I got cleared physically to go back to work, but not only, I knew I wasn't right. Like, just, I was more anxious. Like, emotions that I've had my whole life that I could be able to go, okay, and work my way through it, hit me like a shock, and I was reacting more like just more like intently to things. So I requested to go see a therapist, and the therapist's like, you ain't going back to work. He goes, you got to do this, that. And he put me through exercises, which like he'd put me in certain situations. And, you know, like I said, there's this lovely part of everybody's brain, the amygdala, that's our fight or flight. And it fires when it thinks you're in a situation that's dangerous. So like I was going through a training thing where I just had to sit next to a car. And you don't see after the video, but when the first car showed up, like, I'm like, you take her, and I just went and collapsed, and I'm just laying on the ground. And then somebody sat me up, and I was leaning against a car on the ground. So that was part of the training where I had to sit next to a car. And I got in that position, and my heart just started racing. Like, I was wearing a heart monitor because I kept passing out after this. Like, I was passing out, vertigo. I would pass out for no reason. I would just, like, I was eating soup one day, and I just passed out, you know. So it really had an impact on my life, like where I started to lose like independence. Like, they wouldn't let me drive because I was passing out for, like, and it just, and cognitively I couldn't remember things as easy. Like, and this is just like, trauma does weird, like you can't run from trauma. And it does things to everybody, and we try to work through it, and we get these things, and it really took a toll on me to where I didn't feel like I was the same person. Like I couldn't, like I broke my shoulder before, I tore my ACL, physical injuries I recovered from. When it was my brain, it hit me hard. It hit me, I mean,
So I think one of the thanks for sharing, by the way. I mean, when I first asked you, I put that slide up, and I said, "Hey, you said that's the day that changed your life. What happened?" And you immediately the tears came, right? And I keep thinking to myself, why? This is a story, right? This is not everybody's story. Everyone's got a different story, but this is your story, and I felt the reason you're here is because I felt like I met you through Zoom, and I said, wow, I like this guy. I want to know more about his story. But like, people don't know this story. Yeah. So like, what, those tears, like we just say, look, you're a big dude. You got a crew cut, you know.
I cut my own hair, by the way.
Yeah, all right. But you're like this cop. You're going to be a cop who's this dude that people are afraid of. But then this happened, and it broke you.
It's weird. Okay, I don't know. I try to equate it to somebody experiencing the death of a loved one. And, there's times you hear that song, you smell that smell, you see that thing, that sort of brings you back to that moment. There's times when I tell that story, it brings me back to that sadness. Like how sad, it was like a wave of sadness. Like it was incredible how sad I felt. Like, man, I'm going to hurt somebody.
Can we go into that?